In an effort to send the Messiah as soon as possible after the fall, God tried to guide his children to set up the necessary conditions in order to establish the foundation for the Messiah. What were these necessary conditions? Well, as we reviewed last time, the principle of restoration through indemnity tells us that when someone loses their original position, certain conditions must be met to restore it. For example, if you are demoted in your position due to laziness and complaining, you may work harder or show good character to restore your original rank. In other words, an indemnity condition is a condition that one makes to walk in the reverse course, to reclaim the original position. Thus, with the principle of indemnity being understood, let's look at the case of the fall. Before the fall, Adam and Eve were in a pure, sinless, though immature state, just the way God had intended. They were to engage in self-discipline and have faith in God's word, quote, "do not eat," unquote, as they grew to maturity. Because faith was required to trust and obey God's word, we can call this the foundation of faith. Secondly, in the period of maturing, Lucifer and the other angels, who were in the position of God's servants, had limited authority over Adam and Eve. However, as God's children matured, this order was meant to change. God's children, centered on God's Son, was destined to rule over all creation, including the angels. This is akin to how a eunuch would have a limited authority over a prince, teaching and guiding him throughout his youth. However, once the prince matures and is crowned king, the temporary authority is now flipped. The adult prince now leads and directs the eunuch. Returning back to the original blueprint, Adam, after fulfilling the foundation of faith, was to have substantially realized his role as God's son, lovingly ruling over all creation. We can call this the foundation of substance, or the elder son dominion or birthright, as Adam was supposed to have inherited the entire creation with Lucifer as the servant. However, what happened in the fall of man? Adam and Eve lost faith and obedience to God's word, failing to establish the foundation of faith. Further, whereas Lucifer should have submitted to God's desire to love Adam as the Lord of creation, Satan failed to see from God's viewpoint and reversed dominion. As a result, instead of the proper order of Adam ruling over Lucifer and the angels, Satan now ruled over Adam, seizing the elder son's birthright from Adam. Following the principle of restoration through indemnity, in order to restore Adam to his original state, the reverse of what happened in the fall must occur. Namely, a central figure must make a demonstration of absolute faith in God's word and live out his faith by acting in a manner 180 degrees opposite to what Satan did in the fall, reclaiming the stolen birthright. Thus, this is the biblical formula for God to be able to send the Messiah. The foundation of faith plus the foundation of substance equals the foundation to receive the Messiah. However, God cannot just send a second Adam when the first Adam fails, since that would be violating God's own purpose of creation. Thus, God worked through central figures throughout the Old Testament to symbolically stand in the position of Adam to establish the foundation of faith and foundation of substance. These numerous attempts to establish the foundation for the Messiah is the ensuing 4,000 years of biblical history, from Adam to Jesus. To lay the foundation of faith, three things are needed. 1. A central figure to symbolically stand as Adam. Central figures like Abel, Noah, or Abraham. 2. An object for the condition to demonstrate the central figure's faith in God's command, indemnifying Adam's lack of faith. Conditions of faith, such as Noah building an ark or Abraham willing to sacrifice his son out of wholehearted trust, are examples of this. 3. Numerical time period to indemnify the period of spiritual maturity that Adam had failed to realize. As a result, these are the three criterions for the foundation of faith to be established: a central figure, a condition of faith, and a numerical time period. What about the foundation of substance? As we have stated, Satan had reversed the original order of creation. Instead of fulfilling God's end goal of having Adam, his son, to rule over both the physical and spiritual world, Adam succumbed to sin and allowed Satan to rob his original position as Lord over creation. Even though Satan could not rule over the entire spirit world, Satan, through the posterity of Adam and Eve, became the God, king, and ruler of the physical world, primarily by means of original sin. In order to better understand the process of restoration, let's take a deeper look at the process of the fall. As God's son, God loved Adam more than he could love his servant, Lucifer. As a result, Lucifer became envious and jealous of Adam, ultimately failing to see Adam from God's own viewpoint. Lucifer failed to love God's son as God loved him. This is the first fallen nature. Once he failed to see from God's viewpoint, Lucifer left his proper position and sought for a way to steal Adam's position because of an unrighteous desire to be loved the most in all of creation. Although Lucifer should have humbled himself to God's will and remained in his proper place, receiving God's love through Adam, Lucifer acted out of pride and planned to oust Adam. This is the second fallen nature, leaving one's proper position. Once determined to carry out his plans, Lucifer then reversed the original framework of creation, stealing the position that was meant to belong to God's children, spiritually murdering Adam and Eve. As Satan has maintained this domination over humanity, this is why he is called the God, king, and ruler of this world. This is the third fallen nature, reversing dominion. Finally, God desired that his children multiply goodness by staying faithful and being obedient to his word. Do not eat, spreading God-centered love to each other, posterity, and all of creation. This will should have been conveyed from God to Adam, Adam to Eve, and then Eve to Lucifer. However, the fall occurred in the opposite manner. Lucifer conveyed his deceptive and unrighteous will to Eve, who, in turn, did the same to Adam, multiplying evil and actions that were contrary to God's will. This is the fourth and final fallen nature, multiplying evil. So, how does this all apply to the Bible anyways? Well, as the principle of indemnity states, in order to restore a lost position, a condition must be made walking the reverse course to indemnify and restore the lost position. The process of the fall is significant because the appointed figures must lay the foundation of substance by walking in the opposite course in order to establish the foundation for the Messiah to come. In other words, the fall must be replayed in the reverse order by providential figures that represent Adam or Lucifer. Specifically, in order to lay the foundation of substance, the figure representing Satan must 1. See the heavenly central figure from God's viewpoint instead of failing to see from God's viewpoint. Secondly, Satan's side must stay humble to God's will and remain in his proper position rather than act out of pride, scheming to destroy God's will. Third, Lucifer's side must adhere to God's word and ultimate will, opposite to Lucifer's actions of dominating God's side in unrighteousness. Finally, as a result of Satan's side being brought into voluntary submission, Satan's side is restored, now working in tandem with God's central figure to multiply goodness. When these four fallen natures are reversed, replaced by the heavenly natures walking in the opposite course of restoration, that is when the foundation of substance will be established, allowing the Messiah to come upon that foundation of faith and unity. As we have now understood how the foundation for the Messiah is laid, we are now in a position to unlock the secrets previously hidden in the Bible. But how does God select who was on his side and Satan's side? Next time, as we dive into the providence of restoration in Adam's family, we will begin to understand God's fascinating plan to send the second Adam, the Messiah, as soon as possible, as well as other profound truths. Until next time, stay tuned, thank you for watching, and have a very blessed day.